simply disturbing. I mean, you can do that if you are interested in absorptions. What's of interest, really of interest, is if you have absorption which is as well. We are here to find the sweet spots or the sweet trading spots. So the absorption is measured in time and the size. You can set it to 500. I don't and you will find hopefully really meaningful absorption areas where absorption market volume meets liquidity, and that might be of interest. That might be really of interest to watch what happens here. So you see very coincidentally here 791, although they haven't been traded with the iceberg 70, 129 and so on. Here absorption 1518. This is really an over information here because we have the sweep here. We can read really easily what happens in the sweep here. Good. Volume spikes and absorption. Yeah, Karen, I will come next to this. Volume spikes and absorption are available for all instruments and data feeds. So no MBO data feed required. Therefore, the Trade Finder is not working only with ES, but the Trade Finder is working for Apple, for all stocks, for all other instruments you maybe need or you will have on your chart. Especially we designed Trade Finder for stocks as well, and it makes it really helpful to see in advance the liquidity changes, sweet spots here, like here in Tesla. You look here, that's an excellent example, real life. At Tesla, I'm measuring here extremes volume spikes, which are 50,000 against 25,000 traded. That's extremely helpful information just to see where the exhaustion happens. And you see, when you trade this amount and this number of contracts here, like here as well, then the price or market needs to make a break here. What is the yellow dot? We will come immediately after a short break to this point. Every one of you is silent in this room, and that makes me nervous, guys. That makes me really nervous. Just to finish that, volume spikes for all instruments and data feeds. No MBO data feed required. Volume spikes absorption indicates exhaustion at the current price and volume, or at the tip of the end of the volume spike. A properly customized alert of volume spikes and absorption. You remember, liquidity is different for every single instrument. Keep that in mind. Every instrument has its own characteristics. Gives you a signal of a break, stop, or reversal in the market. That can direct impact your active position if you are in the market, tighten the stop, or taking profits. Just to set a foundation, we want to set a foundation, by the way, based on that, what we can prove, what we can trade with Trade Finder, with Bookmap. And I will show you something which is really exciting, which will show you which direction you should trade and go when the market opens. But before we do that, I just want to spend a few minutes on icebergs. And please be here open. The microphones are open. Join the discussion whenever you want. Ask. There are no issues we should have with our discussion here. Everything is fine as well. If you have a different view on the market, that's okay. Because icebergs are interesting. Just before I come to the iceberg, let's see what happens really here in real time. So At the beginning of the today it worked. At the beginning of the session, we said it was, I think, Jonas who mentioned that 4695 or 4700 is the probable trading target for today. So we didn't know that, but the market went up in really 90-degree move very fast. Market is simply out of any fears here. You will see that maybe on the volatility indexes we will talk about. And then it drops around. There have been a big player who sold 1,900 contracts, traded into the VWAP here at 47.80, 586 here, and then 4700 is history right now. Not a nice sweep, by the way, here. Not a nice sweep, which, let me see that a little bit better. Where someone wants to sell 600, maybe the same one, who knows, I don't know. Used only 2 ticks and sold 316 into the market at 4700. Interesting, absolutely. What we witness here and what the chances we see here is absolutely it's absolutely fascinating to me. And I will share my fascination and my excitement with these tools with you here in this group. I'm happy to be with you again. Let's talk about icebergs. We call them hidden order because they are hidden orders. They are refreshing order IDs. And I remember one question, I'm not whether it was Srini or anyone else here in the room, that they have some difficulties to understand the icebergs a little bit better. So I'm not sure who it was, but if you have difficulties with the icebergs, then let me know that. We have 2 kinds of icebergs, or we want to call them hidden order, because hidden orders, excuse me, just to make a remark. We have 2 kinds of icebergs, or we have 2 kinds of hidden orders. First of all, native hidden orders, and second, synthetic hidden orders. The synthetic hidden orders are orders which are placed by a third-party software like TT Technologies. So if you are a big player, you will most likely using a third-party software or ISV software, or maybe your own software, to place portions or parts of a big order on the CME in this case. That means the synthetic orders are not traceable like native orders. Native orders, or native hidden orders, or native iceberg orders are orders which we can analyze and we can detect in the order book, because this is a single order ID which is refreshing until he unloads or he get everything he wants to have, or wants what his intention wants to trade. It depends on the intentions. We will never know what intentions the iceberg traders, whoever they are, has, but we can find native icebergs, and we can identify and calculate synthetic icebergs. So by saying that, most exchanges offer traders the ability to send icebergs orders due to demand for it from institutional traders or in general traders who trade large amount of contracts. Large traders are considered more informed and more influential than the average trader. And large traders or players use hidden orders or icebergs to conceal their intent to trade at a certain price level. Their large limit order do not display or is not displayed in the limit order book, and therefore these hidden orders do not skew the auction imbalance. An iceberg order can act as an absorption at a certain price level with lack of liquidity in the limit order book. That means it's relatively easy to understand. I've put here an example. So when an order comes in, when an order, or given you and we are a big player, we want to sell 10,000 of contracts. Or in the ES, let me say the example for ES, 1,000 contracts. We can't do that we can do that in one order ID. I mean, we can that if we are sweeping, then we can get the number we want to, the market gives us. So like it is the sweep here and the sweeps we discussed. We could use the sweep as a way. But if we want to achieve something, anything else, whatever it is, support or resistance, we will chop this 1,000 contracts maybe into sizes of 10, of 20, whatever, and we will refresh the same order ID. That's the difference. We will refresh the same order ID until every single iceberg was sold or was placed in the market. That's important. The question now arises. The question now arises is what are iceberg orders good for? What are icebergs order good for? We can use them as resistance. We can understand them as support. And then the question rises. The next question rises up is, what is a decent size for an iceberg, which has a certain meaning to us, a certain meaning on the chart? And that's where we, or at least I, have a little bit different opinions about icebergs, because we haven't found, based on our research the last weeks and months, not only we as TTW team, but as well with other guys like Doug and Rick. Doug from Discord, not the Doug from Bookmap. We found that there is no clear evidence about an iceberg order and how an iceberg order could be used or utilized in trading. So my concept, my idea, what I'm trying to tell, and that might be as well, Remo, a controversial discussion, is that hidden orders can be a part, or one part of a trading concept. So far I know, and maybe again, please prove me wrong, there's no proof that icebergs are a reliable trading concept. There's no proof that icebergs are a reliable trading concept. If you think so, then simply the proof is very easy. Use your money, real account, and trade icebergs. So hidden orders expose only one information about a traded market. We implemented in the Trade Finder hidden orders based on Rithmic and market by order data strings. So we can analyze and we can find every single order in the book. This is ES and this is Rithmic, and this is 150 iceberg on the ask. It's not a good one here to show, but here I will expand the view of hidden order here. So at 46, 88 and 50, 150 contracts have been traded within 772 seconds. So the last 10 minutes have been traded 150 contracts at 88 and 50. That means there was an order. I'm not sure if there was even this yellow line and yellow bullet. We will come to that in a moment. And that means this was an iceberg on ask, which was 150. And you see as well all icebergs, all native icebergs which appeared on chart. You will see them on the hidden order plot as well. So there's no need to put to display every single iceberg, because it's not, at least I'm saying that you decide for yourself, not helpful, at least to me. So 150 traded in 772 seconds. Or it was in the book for 772 seconds. So that means when they finished here, the iceberg might have started, or might have been starting here at 10 minutes before, at 16:45 my time, and lastly finished at 16:59, 10 minutes later here at that place. That was the last order finished, and the order ID was cancelled. Simply, it was finished out of the book.
Walter, one basic question. They're all on the ask side. Are they all limit orders?
Yes, they are all limit orders. They are all limit orders. I mean, yes, they are all limit orders. But however, an iceberg could initially be traded market first and then switch to limit orders. That's what we researched and examined as well. I think the best answer is yes, there are limit orders. I don't want to confuse you, because that's a little bit more, not a little bit more, but it's quite a strong discussion. If you see an iceberg can start to be a market order and then switch it, then this order will be switched immediately on the limit side as a passive order on the limit side. So in general, say yes, you are right. An iceberg is always a limit order. Yes, it is. Technically speaking, we can and we see iceberg orders which starts with a market order and then immediately switch to an limit order. That's that's really a technical discussion we could have, and we could discuss based on that what really an iceberg is and how to count. Is this 150 or is this 151? Or it's really an ongoing discussion how to see this iceberg orders. But iceberg orders are single order native iceberg orders are single order IDs, which are denominated or designated here by this N. You see this minus N, hidden ask minus N means this is a native order which was executed finally at 46:88:50. There is nothing left, and the duration of this order until it was finished here at 46:88:50 was 772 seconds. That was a native iceberg order in the book. There have been other orders in the book as well, here and here, but I'm filtering. I'm looking for big orders, so we can drill them down to give me a second, it's recalculating the chart. I'm looking for icebergs which are around, bigger than 10, and you will see there are a lot of icebergs around here happened on the ask, on the bid, all native icebergs, and as well you will see the same information here in the hidden order plot. This is simply to prevent that you will get really a scattered chart here full of icebergs along a move, and that's the discussion, guys. I personally don't like to see every dot has an iceberg traded. That is most probably the point. But the question is as well, we want to make money in this business. And when we want to make money in this business, we want to understand where to go long, where to go short, what are our targets, and excuse me, how to manage my trade. We want to make money. And I'm simply not interested to see there's an iceberg on ask, which is 12. There's an iceberg on bid, which is 26. There was one on 16. On this point, that's simply useless, at least for me. So I'm speaking about myself. Please decide yourself your way to find good settings for your instrument, what matches your trading style. How can we practically use icebergs in day trading with ES and NQ is the question from Myron. Can you show this on the chart? Which indicators are best combined with icebergs? My answer is general. The bigger the iceberg, the more meaningful it can be. But to be very honest, in this whole discussion, let me see the NQ here. This is a native iceberg at 16, whatever, 300. Well, there was another one. There was another one. So decide yourself. My position is very clear. I don't need necessarily icebergs to make profit in a market. It doesn't matter matter what market it is. I necessarily don't need icebergs. We have done tests, but we just stopped that because it doesn't make sense to say, okay, this is an NQ. We have an iceberg of 90 and NQ at 265. We have to go against it. Show me a good explanation where I could use or go against it. So if I go against it, I'm immediately maybe in trouble here. If I go against it here at 50 in NQ, I might have few points on my side here. If I go against the 100 iceberg, native iceberg at 16,230, I might get few ticks out of this trade, but the market is simply bullish, so it doesn't matter. That could be a kind of hedging. That could be a kind of hedging. I'm a little suspicious about that. To answer your question, just a moment, please. To answer your question on that, I personally agree with people who are saying icebergs has been there for a long time, and we have not found a way to trade them profitably. So to answer your question, Myron, I'm use icebergs, and that might be really controversial to your own experience. I'm using iceberg as an information on my chart, but nothing more. I don't use icebergs as a signal where I would like to put my money on execute on them. So excuse me, Srini, go ahead.
There's one thought process which actually I'm on the same page with you also, but I just want to confirm my thought process on these icebergs. So here, let's go back to, we know the liquidity, we have those, red stripes, and we know the liquidity that we know that's a known liquidity. With the theory that you taught, I understand icebergs it's another form of liquidity which we don't see. So it's kind of basically a one more, if we can assume a one more liquidity line where these icebergs are located, that's it. Because based upon liquidity, we do know, and they are really good signals. They give
Yes.
amazing
Yeah.
signals. And and if we can replace this, this, it's another liquidity. That's all I was thinking. That again, correct me if I'm totally wrong in that thinking. It's just another liquidity provided by these big
Yes.
guys.
I
So
excuse me. Go ahead. Go ahead. So
yeah, so that's why. So if they are providing liquidity, so basically, if I were you, I would think of another line, like there, right, where you see those pictures, iceberg pictures. That's another liquidity line. If you can draw that, market orders need to consume.
yeah, I agree with you. So Myron and other ladies and gentlemen here in the room, I'm posting that on YouTube. It is a really controversial discussion about icebergs, and be sure we have had this discussion as well with the Bookmap team here. What now we can analyze them, and excuse me, we can analyze them, and this is not an how to say secret. Every one of you, if you are able to code them, if you are able to understand the Java language, or if you are doing that for NinjaTrader in C++ or whatever language, you can code icebergs. You can do that. Every single instruction, or the instructions are available on the internet. In the internet, there are theses about icebergs. That's really not a secret. There's nothing secret behind icebergs. And as Srini mentioned, we can use them as liquidity provider. The question now is when the market goes up here. So you see how strong the market is, how the buyings are strong today. We mentioned that at the beginning of today's session here, how strong the market is. Then the question is, what is, I mean, that's more a philosophical question. What is the intention of this 150 iceberg here? What is the intention of him? So he is selling something to market buyer. He wants to get rid of something, or he is providing liquidity. Yes, that could be a good point, Srini. That could be a good point, that this is simply providing liquidity here, providing liquidity there. Where else? We know for sure why this iceberg happened, because he wants to close the sweep with 729. He wants to close the sweep at 17 with 1794. We have a 200 iceberg here. We have an ask, maybe providing liquidity as well. So what is the conclusion out of these icebergs? I'm very clear on that. It's an information on the chart. It's an information about the market, but I don't trade icebergs.
Walter.
Yeah.
Walter, we have one variable in the equation also. There's a market maker.
Yes.
So the market maker, what kind of role it is? It has like a providing also the liquidity, but it's also a hidden liquidity, because he doesn't show himself where he's acting and taking the big players like bets against the other markets, and so maybe it's a market maker.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, me and Argo and other guys and ladies and gentlemen here in the room, we might find a lot of reasons. It's a market maker. It's a big guy because it's 150. He can afford to trade 150. He's providing liquidity into the market. He is covering here sweeps. What else? I don't see any. Let me have a look at the NQ. So icebergs here, icebergs there. He is providing liquidity, market maker, sweep, covering 60. The question is, what do we do with this information? How do we make money with this information? That's the main question. And I must admit, and I'm very open. I'm very open with that. I'm outing myself. Excuse me. I'm outing myself here. that I don't simply know. I don't trade icebergs. I take them as an information, hidden orders, and I avoid any philosophical discussion of an iceberg. I see them a lot on Twitter and what they are doing, and this was an iceberg about 30 and 40, and therefore the market must go up. I'm refusing to be part of this discussion because I don't believe that this is really the reason why the market is going up. And I personally, I'm outing myself that I'm an opponent of, not opponent, but I'm not a friend of icebergs, because they might disclose really what's going, for some of you, might disclose what's really going in the market. The neutral point, a neutral standpoint from myself where I can live with is to say icebergs are an information in the market. And that helps me to understand. On some days, by the way, on some days you will see 500 icebergs on ask. That might be a kind of hedging. Although hedging happens mostly in the big markets, in the cash markets. I know that it's really cash markets, and you can't sell 500 millions of contracts here into ES. That's not possible. But it can be that a market maker, an institution are simply hedging their position by selling 500 icebergs here, 500 icebergs here, 500 icebergs there, and you will see this pattern along a bullish market, or along a bullish market. If you see that and understand this is something meaningful, you know, okay, let's say someone is hedging 500 contracts every 2 points, then I have to go long here. That could be, and by the way, that happened as well in the past several times. So, but it must be the context. We should understand the context of the market, what the market is doing. Is it rising or not rising? And then we will understand it better. However, what I wanted to point out, and where we put an effort, where we put a huge effort in our research, is the developing icebergs. I have not the best examples right now. I have them on the chart, but we talked about it. It's quite interesting. What happens when an iceberg is or develops. It starts somewhere and takes minutes and hours to finish. That's quite interesting to watch this behavior, instead watching, oh, this is 150, this is 2, 16, 20, 30, 40, whatever. So just to show you the synthetic icebergs, and that's simply what we are doing, and therefore TradeFinder works for stocks as well, and simply amazing to see what happens here. Let me have a look here at the SPY. Let's select SPY here. Yeah. You see, this is the SPY. And what you see here, this is quite interesting to see that maybe I'm filtering a little bit too low here. You see synthetic icebergs. Let me add this one here. Synthetic icebergs on in the SPY. We sell a volume spike. That means in this case we can derive, or we know the volume spike is always a kind of exhaustion. In the SPY we see an exhaustion here. Maybe there was another one. We should, I must measure a little bit more precise, and then that gives me a good signal to go against it. And you see how this traded into liquidity at 470. So you have very similar signals based from 468 into 470. That means 20 point in the S. So one SPY point is 10 point in the S. So that's the SPY with synthetic icebergs supporting them just wanted to show you synthetic icebergs on.
Walter, what's the difference between synthetic and native, please?
Synthetic icebergs are calculated mathematically. When we see repeating pattern in the data string for ES or others, here we can as well see them on synthetics, they are calculated as repeating order patterns. We calculate them mathematically. That means synthetic icebergs are not submitted directly on the CME. They are using, for example, TT technologies or other own written or ISV software to place the order. So my friends are using synthetic icebergs based on their own software they have written. So if they want to buy 50,000 shares of Apple, they are not submitting maybe 50,000, but they are chopping them into, so slicing them into 5,000 pieces or whatever, and then place them on a single market. It doesn't matter. It must not be Nasdaq. It can be other dark pools where they are trading those stocks. As well, a synthetic iceberg is an iceberg which comes in as a single order, and it is placed on the CME, but you can't see that this is this is a part of an iceberg, because it was submitted via a third-party ISV software or whatever to the exchange. We can calculate them only approximately using a pattern detection system where we can say, okay, that's a synthetic and that could be a synthetic iceberg. But it's not 100% clear and sure like a native iceberg is. We can accumulate a pattern to say, okay, this is 25, this is probably 25,016 iceberg traded at 49.89, for example. But this is calculated mathematically based on pattern. And a native iceberg, like this one here, was placed directly on the CME exchange, directly on this exchange with a single order ID, and we see the single order ID, and the single order ID is refreshing until he get what he wanted, in this case 150 contracts. That's the difference between synthetic icebergs and native icebergs. Therefore,
just to add, Walter, just to add to that, I think there are a couple of questions on. There is a CME offered this thing to the big guys. They pay heavy fees to CME. This is like we place limit orders, market orders. We can if you have a ton of money, you can place a iceberg order, but it's like a special order they place. And so those are all natives, and those if you want to place a synthetic, you got to go through the other technology.
Yes.
But you can still do it. So, and what they're telling is whatever you place, we don't show it to the outside. That's the benefit they're getting.
Absolutely,
out of it.
Yes. Native icebergs, same order ID. Yes, it is the same order ID. Synthetic icebergs are different order IDs. Yes, that's right. So we again, to place synthetic orders, go back. There's a wonderful page of TT Technologies, and go back and read what they can do with their dome, with their technology. So either you are using TT Technologies to place, you can do it by yourself as well. You are using TT Technologies, and then their dome and their technique will slice your order. It doesn't matter whether you are placing 10 lots or 100 lots. You can say or advise the software to slice the order in several pieces, and then every one of these pieces will be sent to the exchange. and it appears in the book as a normal, let me say, as Srini said or mentioned, as a normal order. So, and that's the difference between I don't want to disclose my intentions to you. That's the point here. And
is that a bit like dark pool liquidity? Or?
Dark pool is a little bit different because yes, when we are talking about apples, excuse me, when we are talking about stocks, then there are different exchanges to buy or sell stocks. I think maybe you know that, and we are talking also. Yeah, we can talk about dark pools. So they are buying and selling stocks on different exchanges worldwide in let me say, like in a dark room, and that will influence, of course, the price of the stock, but that's mainly valid for the stocks, for the stock exchanges here, and not for the normal mini futures and electronically traded futures. That's the point. I know electronically traded futures like E-mini, NQ, ES, the instrument 6E, what else, CL and so on, are so far I know not traded in a dark pool. But when you are trading Apple or when you are trading stocks, for example, mostly it will be traded on different exchanges which are connected together to get the best price.
So the X feed won't pick that up then?
Sorry?
The X feed, the X feed, the trading, the signal
Yes.
provider, will not pick that up because he's focusing on one exchange.
Yeah, right. So far I know, yes, the XFIT is not doing that. I'm not sure whether they have the ability to, I don't know. To be honest, I don't know. We have the national best bid offer here for the most instruments. I can't answer that question. So far I know the XFIT is provided from one exchange, but I don't know how they are collecting the data. I can't answer your question right now. Maybe we should pass this answer to the XFIT.
All right, thank you.
You have the possibility to instead to display the best bid, the national best bid offer here for every instrument. For especially, it's interesting for stocks to see the spreads, and that might be that's why I'm really cautious with my answer, because I exactly don't know whether they are collecting the data from different exchanges here and display them here on chart. Not sure.
Okay, well, one
Yes.
more question on the ICE. I see that you don't like them as a counter-trend signal. Have you ever considered it as treating them like pivots on a chart? And okay, they can be a place where price is going to retreat from or to continue from. If they are broken.
but we didn't find you. I think I will really consciously leave this discussion open, because we haven't find, and our team and my team and we here as a team, we have two great programmers. Then as well, we are back testing, forward testing based on the rhythmic data, and we found any whatever proof or what's interesting based on iceberg to say, okay, someone is selling 221 here, I have to go short here. I would like to leave this discussion open.
Yeah, that's counter-trend, but
Sorry?
what if that level is broken? That's counter-trend. Okay, someone is selling, okay, I have to go short, but what if that level is then, okay, we retreat a bit, like make a higher low, and then boom, it breaks that iceberg level. Then that's a continuation of a obvious trend then.
Yeah, it can be. Yeah, it can be. The point is,
Has been
sorry?
examined? Has that been examined?
No. As mentioned, what we are talking, I will show you what we did on the developing icebergs, what we did on developing icebergs of a certain size, certain time, and so on. That could be interesting for us when we see this iceberg developing. But we haven't found, I can't only say we haven't found anything which is really meaningful that we say, okay, we use these icebergs, especially the bigger one, to put a trade on, to get it in the context and say, okay, this 221, which was 29 seconds in the book, he got a fill, he provided liquidity here at 4,700. Therefore, I don't know what to do with that. It's an information. It might be an information based on that, but prove me wrong. Say you have a better system based on that. I will be eager to understand and to learn from you. In this case, what's an icebergs. But I will show you something which is really, really interesting and meaningful and worthwhile to every one of us, because as I mentioned, we are here to make money. And we are here not to look at every bubble and every iceberg and every what we have, anything. We are here to understand the market move, to understand where liquidity is. That's a fact, as we discussed yesterday. And I would like to add this. I would like to add the power of the institution levels. Give me just a second here. I don't know what this is. 04. Where the algos of the institutions might trade around. And these levels where you see here on my chart, you can have them on your chart as well. They are for free. You can use them as a guidance, as a resistance and support levels. So if you have a better idea how to trade the naked iceberg, let me know. We can discuss, we can prove. We have the optimization, we have the tools, especially on rhythmic data, which we have collected here to run back testing and forward testing to understand how to utilize icebergs in our trading. And by that I'm saying, I just want to close this discussion here, because you see that's controversial as well. And therefore what I'm saying, you can adjust the trade finder to find any iceberg, but what is a 16 iceberg or 30 iceberg or whatever of meaning for us? So I don't know. I really admit that I don't know, and therefore we can discuss whatever you want, but we will see there are better indicators which we can use to find the direction of the market and to trade into the direction here. Very easy into the liquidity. You see the institutional icebergs right here, how exact they are. Not every day but I would say 80% of the days, or they are exactly where the price is going to, then remains there, maybe drops back, pulls back, and then trades back, trades higher, for example, in this case. Can we sell this? Question. Alexander is asking, can this sell iceberg to be that someone was long before and just cover the position by selling? I don't know. Eve, what do you think? You see the question? I don't know.
Oh, I would say it can be anything.
Yeah.
Taking a new position, or is getting out of a position, or whatever.
So,
go on. Walter, some couple basics things, based on our software only. Can you please cover, the vertical, the profile chart, for the icebergs, as well as the DID line, also the the begin and end of the iceberg, because that's where that was a little bit confusing. You have that yellow line comes up.
Yeah.
Where please cover
That's
that.
my
Yeah.
next discussion. So if you hear me on YouTube or maybe someone commenting, I'm outing myself to that I'm not a friend of icebergs. I'm not a big fan of icebergs, and I'm not at all a fan of icebergs when I see clustered chart with 10, 20, 30, 40 icebergs. I mean, it's interesting to watch the big icebergs. I just for demonstration purposes, I put them here on 150, but I want to see 300 and higher and bigger icebergs. That's maybe more interesting to watch them. I will discuss the DID in a moment. And we decided, and that was just for your understanding, we decided to put this not to distract the trader, but to put all icebergs in the hidden order plot as well and the hidden order volume profile. That's here on this side. If you are a user or trade finder, we decided just to relax the trader, but putting all the icebergs who are less, in this case, than 150 or whatever icebergs into the dynamic order plot. Every iceberg which is bigger than 150 will be displayed here, but as well will be designated or will be plotted here on chart. So, because as mentioned, you must decide by yourself. It's your decision what you want to have. But we decided to put in plot and as well in the profile. You see on the red side, when you watch the profile, on the red side are icebergs on ask. On the left side are icebergs on bid, and that means when you see a profile like here, like this one, that are simply more, let me say, red bars than green bars, then this is a kind of resistance. You can use this iceberg profile here as a kind of not as a profile. Really, in the real meaning of profile, it is simply a kind of resistance here at this area at 4702. These red bars are accumulated icebergs, and the longer the bar, the more has been traded at those levels here, or these levels, 02. And the longer the bar on the green side, that means that's more of a support. This is a different view of icebergs, and I think for myself, I'm talking about myself just to give you an idea how icebergs could be useful, is when you have such a profile and where you see a big large bar coming up, red bar for example, maybe into a resistance area where liquidity is and where institutional options levels are, and so on, maybe as well spot gamma levels if you are watching spot gamma, then that might be a kind of resistance, and they are taking really breath here and taking a break here, pause at 4702, 47.5. These levels have been long before the market opened, and that might be indication, okay, that's maybe a break. We see 400 liquidity came up at 12.13 with plus 400 added to this level here, which is a little bit higher than the next institution level at 47.10, and this is a kind of guidance where we can work with, but we can't work with smaller iceberg, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 icebergs along a way, because it's simply distracting. Our inner monkey will jump up and down just to understand what this is, and we want to avoid any distraction from this side. Hi Bridge, how to find out the institution level? Is it based on the liquidity level? No, institution level, I can install it on your or I can give you the link. I thought I gave the link here in the room. I'm not sure. Oh, it's always in the room here. You can add them institutional levels as a cloud notes, but I can help you out, Bridge, after the seminar to set up it on your chart as well. So no worry. this is really an easy task to do so.
Walter, one more question about the price dynamics plot. Since we cannot put in any parameters, can you explain to me how it is plotted? Is it relative to prior activity?
No,
or?
it is based on the dome. It is based on the dome. If this green means here that these are the transactions between the sellers into the bid and the absorption at the bid. So green means this is the activity on the ask. So that means the buyers are lifting the ask, or the buyers are buying everything from ask, and thus they are lifting the offer. The red ones is exactly the opposite what you see here on the chart. The red ones are simply hitting the bid. These are the transactions between sellers and bidders, the red ones, and the green ones are the transactions between buyers and sellers.
And when you get then the darker red, like the extremes?
Yes, you mean that where my cursor is? Yes, this is extreme. This is a kind of exhaustion. That means this band, you can set it if you are using Trade Finder. You can set the variable to the size to variable, and I'm just combined both. You can separate them. You see, you can separate the plots. I'm using combined, and I can move the position around. Variable means that the algorithm, the program is counting and put when we drill in, we have to sample. It puts every sample of the trade which happens. I must say it is optimized for ES Future. It doesn't work well with stocks because we have to optimize the sample time and so on. There's a lot of there's research needed. They are sampling the size, and every time when a transaction happens, it is calculated to the already happened sample size or whatever. I can't even express it so well, but at the end, it shows the intensity of buyers or sellers. It shows the intensity of buyers and sellers. So when you see a light green, that means there is no more activity. What you mentioned, when you see this red bullet or this red diamond, you see how they are rising here. That means this volume was bigger than the previous volume here. You see light green.
Then I have a question, because of course if you're watching the European session when liquidity is small, let's say that, and then you enter into the American session, and then of course the previous liquidity was small, and then you get immediately a spike up in liquidity, and then you get your red spot there, which is then in fact not very reliable.
This is because as you mentioned, I don't know whether I understood what you mean, is because the liquidity here is thinner than the main session. What you said. I don't know if you have an idea how to change that, or if you have additional idea, write to the support and the developers, because this is the first version of the price dynamics.